Throughout all of human histories, humans have created many stories of the paranormal, regardless of where in the world. But nowadays, most things are explained with science and with research on the internet. We have access to a whole database to our fingertips, and even with this, supernatural things are still believed, and old stories still live through. And there's even some new ones. Whether it be through forums, chat logs, literature, and even people who have stories of them experiencing things beyond our comprehension. Are they lying for attention or are they actually true? Who knows? But today on the Patriot Pod, we will be discussing all things paranormal with stories from the world and personal experiences with our loved ones. Welcome everybody to the Patriot Pod. I'm Chasie Gelfman. I'm sitting here with Sabrina Linares.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Linares, and I am kind of new to spooky stories, but I'm very, very into true crime stories.
That's cool. I'm also here with Marconi Sente. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Marconi. I've been I love hearing scary stories. I mean, I've been around since like creepypastas were a thing, so yeah, this would be nice.
It's nice to have you guys here. So, to start, my personal experience with urban legends and the paranormal in general are quite personal. Whenever I'm at home, I feel like there's something always watching me, like there's a presence in my home, but like specifically only when I'm downstairs.
I know exactly what you mean. Like whenever I'm like home alone, I feel like something's watching me. I don't feel like all the time, but it's like sometimes only.
I'm never really home alone, but like at night, I still have that thing where I turn off the lights and I go sprinting to my room because of
That's
that
so
feeling.
real.
Oh my god, yeah, I do. I do
That's
the
so
same
real.
thing.
I used to think it was like the pipes or something, and that like I was just going crazy, and that like, yeah, I was just going crazy.
I like same for me. Like whenever it's like late at night, like I always hear something on my wall, but I think it's like really just my pipes rattling. But it's always like still unnerving to hear.
Yeah, but like the thing, my mom told me something. When I brought this up to her, like I never told it to her before because she would think I'm a psycho. But basically, when I told her, she looked at me like she just saw a ghost. She's like, when I first bought this house, I hired like a psychic to like cleanse this house. Whatever you're sensing, it's gone. Cause like she was trying to convince herself that like all her money she spent did not go to waste. So that psychic did not do a good job, as you guys can tell.
Yeah.
But like as you guys said, like I know other people can also feel like there's something there at when you're home alone, and like there's always something like behind your back or something, and like it can get really unnerving. And now we have interviews from Marconi's mom and Chasey's dad. Here we have Marconi's mom's story.
What's your experience with the paranormal?
I had an experience in my late 20s at my mother's house in Lodi, New Jersey. For some reason, I had the biggest bedroom out of the four. And I always had this funny feeling when I try to sleep in my room that someone was watching me. I always felt like some kind of presence. Never seen it actually until one night. I came home late one night from going out with my friends, and I fell in kind of a deep sleep. All of a sudden, I felt like someone was smothering me, like holding me down. And I woke up and I looked around and it was completely dark. But in the corner, I saw this shadow of a man. He looked like Abraham Lincoln, sort of. I would say probably like the 40s, 50s. And it completely startled me that after that, I never felt comfortable sleeping in that room again. I always slept in the other bedroom, which was we used as a TV room. But after that experience, I never slept in there again. And I tried to tell my mother about the experience, but she said, no, that's not true. You're probably seeing things. Pray the rosary. But then years later, once I, moved out and started my own family, my younger brother ended up moving into that room. And it's funny, but when we spoke about it later in the years, it came up that he experienced the same thing. Move forward to now, my mother had a medium at her house, and she did tell my mother that there was a presence in that room, that she felt it, but that it wasn't a dangerous present, that it was just an old man, probably used to live there, stuck to his home. That's what he felt like, that was home. But that was my experience with seeing a presence.
Moving on, we have Chasie's dad's story. Now tell us your spooky story or paranormal experience.
My paranormal experience can be considered with, I would say, a couple of dreams that I had, or night dreams. At the time, I was 12 years old, and we lived in the middle of the former Jewish ghetto.
In Belarus, right?
In Belarus, which is capital is Minsk, and we were living in Minsk.
Yeah.
And over there, one day experience was that I was like lying down, and there was a bunch of people around me also lying down, and there was some sort of like ominous figure like walking around us. And then another one was when I looked out the window, there was some sort of like a lady-like hollow fluorescence of some kind. That's sort of like, I don't remember if it was a dream or not, so that's about it.
Oh, thank you. Those interviews are really cool. I like how descriptive Marconi's mom's was, and I like how my dad spoke during the story. But like, do you guys know any like urban legends around the world?
I don't really know any off the top of my head.
So I know of an urban legend from Venezuela. It's called El Silbón. So it started with this very spoiled kid who grew up in Venezuela with his parents and his grandfather, but they never taught him how to have manners or behave towards them. I have no idea why, but he just grew up that way. And one day he was hunting with his dad. He wanted deer intestines, specifically deer intestines. He was like, "Dad, bring me deer intestines." But the dad, he tried so hard, could not find a deer. So this kid, he got so angry, so crazy, that he killed his dad, gutted him, took home his intestines, and his mom and his grandpa were really concerned, and they did not know what type of meat that was, especially because he came home with his dad. So they asked him where he got the meat from. This kid said, "It grew in my dad's tummy." The mom was so sad and concerned. She didn't do anything. But you know what the father did?
Grandpa?
Grandpa.
The grandpa. The grandpa got him, tied him up, gave him so many lashes on the back. Then afterwards, he put salt, lime, and peppers all over his back. He seasoned him up. And then afterwards, he got sent out with the dogs and to get eaten alive. Like, all the dogs ate him alive while he was seasoned up. But before he sent him out with the dogs, he had him carry a bag of bones with his dad's remains. So he got eaten with his dad, with the rest of his dad, with the dogs.
Anything more to that?
So now he wanders as like a spirit, right? And if you're sleeping, you're cooked, because he comes into houses, he counts bones, and if you're sleeping, he'll count yours.
So, do you guys think that stories of the supernatural still hold up today?
Personally, me, I think it really does. There's always like movies about ghosts and stuff, and I think it always does well in cinema, even if the movies aren't really that good. Like, for example, the Conjuring series, that's like about like all that like devilish stuff. So like everyone loves the Conjuring. So I think, yeah, it still holds up.
I also agree with Marconi. I think that if we didn't have those tales from back then, we wouldn't have the amazing horror movies we have today.
Like, do you guys have like any thoughts of the supernatural itself?
I never really believed in the supernatural. I didn't grow up with hearing these stories.
Um, I just think it's a really cool topic. I mean, even if they're not real, I just think it's just like really cool.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. And for our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this unnerving episode of the Patriot Pod. Don't forget to listen to our other podcasts on the Patriot Press website. Have a great day, listeners!